Well, good afternoon everyone. Welcome to my video. So in this video, I'd like to explain about online learning. But before we go further, let me to show you some subtopics which are related to our topics today. So as you can see on the screens, the first topic is about online learning. And then the second is basic elements of LMS. And then the third is example of a good introduction writing for one topic meeting. And then the fourth is an attractive online materials and the elements which are needed. The fifth is optimized online discussion. The sixth is online learning activities and the relevant tools. And then the seventh is resources for engaging learners in online learning. The eighth is example of effective assessment in online learning. And then the ninth is basic elements for building online course. And then the last is example of lesson in one meeting. So let's discuss for the first subtopics. Okay, if we talk about online learning, the first questions which emerge is what is the online learning? So in my opinion, online learning is the learning process which is lasted through an online media. It means that in online learning, it uses technological tools, and especially internet is the main tool which is used in this learning process. So furthermore, there are two terms which are related to online learning. There are synchronous and asynchronous. Synchronous is the things which are happening at the same time. For the example is face-to-face learning. So there is a teacher who teaches an English course. And then in the face-to-face interaction, she is giving a question to her students, and then the students are answering the questions directly to the teacher at the same time. So it means that the interactions is happening at the same time. Or in the other hand, online learning is also called as the synchronous activity, because it is happen in the real time and then at the same time. And then the second is asynchronous. As like what I said before, asynchronous are the things that are happen at the different time. So for the example is online learning. There is a teacher who do online learning through Schoology. He gives an instruction or give questions to his students, and then the students are giving the response or the answer the day after he uploaded the instructions. So it means that the interaction between the teachers and the students are happening at a different time or not in the same frame time. So the second subtopics is about what are the basic features of LMS. So I think I did something wrong return from the previous slide. I mean that the basic features, not the basic elements of LMS. So okay, let's discuss for the first features. The first features is announcement. Announcement is a features where the teachers can use it as the place for write an instruction or the new update for the students. It means that announcements has the functions as the place for writing instructions or announcements about assignment or something which is important for the students. So now I'd like to show you the real example of announcements. So the next subtopics, I will show you the example of writing introduction or introduction writing for the online courses. So here I want to show you from this Schoology. is the example of introduction writing in the course. So as you can see on the screens. So let's move to the next subtopics. Well, now let us discuss about an attractive material. The question about this subtopic is why the online material should be attractive and what are the elements which are needed. So, in my opinion, the online material should be attractive in order to encourage students' interest. It is similar when we want to buy something. The first thing that we observe naturally is the cover, right? So it is also happens when the students want to read some materials that are delivered by the teachers. So the first elements which are needed is layout. Yeah, layout should be clear and open for the students. It means that when you use a clear layout, for example, you choose the white layout, it can make the materials is readable and the students will interest to read that material. So the second one is text. When you want to provide a material or an instructions in the online learning, you have to avoid to write a long text because it can be make a students boring and they want to read your material. So the third is color. Yeah, colors is really important in order to attract their interest. When you use a bright color or the color which is loved by the students, they will naturally look into your material. But the one thing that you should remember when you want to choose the color, you have to consider about contrast. Sometimes when you choose the color which is contrast to the text, it makes your material is not readable for the students. And then the fourth is graphic elements. The use of icon and also symbols is really important in order to make your material is more clearly for the students. For the example, I can show you from my Schoology applications or from the e-learning course that I joined. So here I'd like to show you this is some instructions and also some materials which are provided by my lecturer, and then he used the white layout and it is really clear and readable. And then also he uses some icons like this one, this icon for the comprehension check sections or the discussion sections, and also he chooses a different colors for every icon that is used here. So let's move to another subtopics. Oh yeah, just for your information, you also can use several types of font here, but make sure that it is readable. And if you want to emphasize something important, you can use a bold or italic for symboling that it is an important materials. So now I'd like to explain about online learning activities and the appropriate tool for those activities. So the first is discussion activities. As you can on the screens, discussion activity is divided into three types. The first is social forum discussions. It is used for the students to get know each other. And then the second is general forum discussion. This discussion usually used by the teachers for an ice-breaking activity. So the third is topic driven. So in the topic driven, usually the teachers give instructions and then the students can ask about the administrations about that instruction or the due date. But it doesn't mean that it is the individual instruction between the students and the teachers. No, but the teachers can also communicate with the entire class participant. And then the second is online journaling. Like its name, these activities allow students to reflect on the step that they take to understand new knowledge and develop their skills. And then the third is share-based knowledge. These activities focus on the collaborative communication. It means that the students can communicate each other. For the example, the students can give some comments to their work in the discussion section. And then the last is practice exercise and group project. Like its name, practice exercise usually used for the teachers in order to measure the students' understanding. And then the group project, different from the practice exercise. If the practice exercise is usually done by the students individually, but in the group project it is done by several students in the one group. So let's discuss for the tools which are appropriate to these activities. So here I'd like to show you several tools which are appropriate to those activities. So the discussion board, or also known as a bulletin board, is the appropriate tool for discussion activities. And then there is WordPress, which is appropriate for journaling activities. When the application doesn't have blog facilities, you can use another facilities from the internet such as WordPress, and then also PBWiki for the activities of share-based knowledge. And then the teacher can use test manager for the practice exercise, or maybe for general discussion, because it can be used for giving a test or quizzes. And then also Dropbox for the group project activities. And then also you can use Google Docs for the group project activities. So next, move to the next subtopics. So the next subtopic is optimize online discussion. Yeah, the question which is emerged from this subtopic is that the online discussion is important, but sometimes the online discussion doesn't work well. So how we as the teacher can optimize this online discussion? So there are several suggestions that I can give in order to optimize the online discussion. So it can be denied that sometimes online discussion doesn't work well like what we want. For the example, there is some paraphrase or copy paste that is done by the students, and also sometimes there is a misunderstandings during the online discussion, or maybe sometimes the students discuss out of the topic or out of the track. So the first things that I suggest to the teachers is the clear and brief instructions. Like the previous meeting, we discussed about the clear and brief instructions is really important in order to avoid the misunderstandings. When we give the clear and brief instruction, the student will understand easily what we want to say, and there is no confusions that is got by the students. And then the second is plagiarism guidance. We cannot tell the students directly about whether it is a plagiarism or just a copy paste, but as the teachers we can encourage students awareness about plagiarism. We can give we can provide material about plagiarism guidance for the students that can symbolize that the plagiarism is banned in our discussion sections. And then giving appreciation. Sometimes some students is too shy for arguing their opinion or giving their opinion in the discussions. They are too afraid that their opinion is wrong. But sometimes when they try to give an opinion, we can give a reinforcement or reward, like said, it is a good opinion. So our feedback can encourage their motivation to join our discussion. And then the last is reminding students. It means that when we know that the students is out of the track, we can give some caution or notice them that to still focus in the discussion topic. And then I forget to say that sometimes the discussions is not need more time or overload of time. So as the teachers, we can give a clear due date that make this all the students can give their argument based on the due date. I mean that there is no students who give a late response, or maybe they talk too much about the discussion. I think that's all. And then the next subtopics are, so now as you can see on the screens, I'd like to show you of providing an appropriate resources. So here in the Schoology, I prefer to be a teacher, and in this case I teach about procedure text, and now I provide a video as the resources. So this one. Yeah, the students can download this video. So this is the video that I use as an apprehension. This is about how to make a pancake. And then I also provide some links for the materials. Yeah, here this is the link. Okay, let's move to the next discussion. So now we are still in the same platform. It is Schoology, and now I will show you about the effective assessment in online learning. So as the face-to-face learning, we also need do an assessment as a teacher, right? But different from the normal assessment, there are some types of online learning assessment. But in this case, I choose activities assessment, where I do some discussion sections and also an assignment sections or project section. Here there is a discussion. This is the activities which is done by the students. There are some questions that should be answered by the students in order to know whether they are understanding the material or not. And then this one, the procedure text assignment, when I give the task to the students to make a short procedure text. Here I emphasize the students' writing skill, and here they can submit their assignment. And then here there are a great setup. I use Fabric for this assessment activities. These are the rubrics. Yeah, there is some criteria for the example is quality, accuracy, and timelines. So the contributions to the online course discussions are well written, appropriate, and directly relevant to the topic discussion. And then this is the grading scale: 4 for excellent, 3 for good, 2 for satisfactory, and also 1 for needs improvement. So as you can see on the screen, this is about accuracy. All the contributions are supported by evidence, sharing experience, and informative as it's required. And then also this is timelines. It depends whether the students submit their assignment lately or not, or on time. So the second rubrics is about the task. This is the rubric of assignments. They almost have a similar criteria, but there is a little bit diversity, like in the quality where the plagiarism is not indeed or bad, that is, and no plagiarism, and also timeliness. I also use a similar grading scale. So I think that's all about this subtopic. So now let's move to another subtopics. The next is about basic elements for building online course. So when you want to building online course, there are 4 elements that you have to consider first. So now I'd like to explain about the basic elements for building online course. So when you want to build an online course, there are 4 basic elements that should be considered. The first is learning outcomes. Learning outcome is a measurable strategy that is used by the teachers for measuring the students' understandings about the learning materials. So in this case, learning outcomes holds an important roles. We can know whether the online learning is successful or not by seeing the learning outcomes of the students, and moves to the syllabus. As we know before, that syllabus provides the general view of the topics or of the course that will be joined by the students. There are 3 important things when we talk about syllabus. The first is syllabus as a communication strategy, and then the second, syllabus is used as the time limit or the course time frame, and then the third is syllabus are used as the guidelines. And then the third is course outline. In the course outlines, it is provides the unit and also the lessons for the students. It means that the students can know what they will do the next by seeing a course outline. That's why course outline is important too for building an online course. And then the last is lesson. And sorry, I forget to write the lesson and sections. In the lesson and sections, the topics for a meeting are chunked into several activities. For the example, the teachers chunk some divided the 6 topics for the 6 meeting, and then in every meeting the topics are chunked again into several sections or several activities for the students. So the next I will give you the example of this lesson. So here I will show you the example of lesson in one meeting. Here this is the first meeting in the English course, and then this topic is about procedure text, and here I chunk the topics into several sections or discussion. Here the resources that I provide for the students. Here as you can see, this is the discussion section and also the assignment section. This is called as the lesson. So I think that's all about the video which talks about online learning. Hopefully it can help you. So thank you.